This whole Salah versus Liverpool situation feels like watching a slow motion car crash between a club legend and a coach who's already under massive pressure. Listen to Salah's comments.
I said that many times before. I had a good relationship with the manager, and out of the sudden, we don't have any relationship. I don't know why.
He was openly admitting there's no relationship with Arne anymore. We're talking about the best player in the Premier League last season. The man won the Golden Boot. He had the most assists. He was the player of the year. Him and Salah had a great relationship even with the whole contract situation looming over. Now he's getting benched, barely getting minutes. He was dropped and he didn't like it one bit.
So far, I'm in the bench 3 games, so I can't say that they keep the promise.
So how did we get here? Here is the situation. Salah was benched for 3 games in a row, then spoke to the media sharing his thoughts. Most Liverpool fans I think would agree that him being benched was deserved. His form had dropped off badly compared to last season, and you could make the argument that even in the back end of the last season he wasn't great once the title was basically wrapped up. Liverpool as a whole are a mess. They keep losing, lethargic performances, and multiple players playing miles below their level. Out of nowhere, Salah does a big interview where he says he feels like the club is throwing him under the bus.
Seems like a club throw me under the bus. That's how I feel it.
Says he's given everything to the club and deserves more respect.
It's like you throw him more under the bus because he's a problem in the team now. But I don't think I'm the problem. I have done so much for this club to get the respect I want to get.
Claims he shouldn't have to fight every single day for a spot because he's already earned it.
I don't have to go every day fighting for my position because I earn it. People will say, you're not bigger than... I'm not bigger than anyone. I earn my position. This is football.
Admits he used to have a good relationship with Salah, now there's no relationship at all, then mentions promises that were made to him in the summer that haven't been kept.
The club promised me in the summer for a lot of promises and nothing. So far, I'm in the bench 3 games.
So you've got a club legend on massive wages, clearly feeling disrespected and pushed out. And then you've got a manager who keeps losing games, losing some fans, and potentially based off this, maybe losing the dressing room too. These are the growing pains that I expected in Salah's first year, because there was a change in leadership and so many players were already adjusted to the way that Klopp did things. New leadership doesn't know the player's history, the past stars lose a step, they're not a part of the long-term plan, so they feel betrayed. At this point though, the fan base is pretty much split into 2 big camps. Camp 1 is that Salah is being incredibly unprofessional.
You simply cannot, in a team game, come out and say things like you've just said. It's an unwritten rule.
Many Liverpool fans are furious with the Egyptian because they feel like he's being an arrogant brat and throwing a tantrum. You never hear from this guy when he's not playing well or when the team is losing. But as soon as he needs a new contract or he gets benched, suddenly he finds every reporter in the room. Remember, this is not the first time he has done this. He has a very, very low tolerance for not playing. A few years ago, he was in a bad patch of form under Klopp, and Klopp benched him. He reacted poorly then as well. It was all resolved once he started playing again, but he didn't react in a professional way.
No, we spoke about that in the dressing room, and with that, it's done for me. That's all, and that's it. That was my impression, yes.
Add in the tensions that he's had with Mane in the past, and people are not treating this as a one-off emotional outburst. They're connecting it to a pattern. For his critics, this is classic Mo Salah. Happy and quiet when the team is playing well, but one of the first people to come out and complain publicly when things go south. He was dropped because he has been bad this season.
And he's probably thinking, why am I not starting? The facts are his form hasn't been good enough.
We're not talking about just below his usual level, but he's been terrible. He's losing his 1v1s, he looks slower, he's not beating his fullback, and now he's not even getting goals and assists to hide the ghost sessions he's having.
Because I think we're at the stage with Mo Salah right now where he shouldn't be playing every game.
For most Liverpool fans, him getting benched is not a sign of disrespect. It's just football logic. When you're not playing well, when you're not contributing to the team, you get benched. What doesn't help is the entitlement in his quotes. The specific line that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way is when he said, I shouldn't have to fight every day for my position because I've earned it.
And I don't have to go every day fighting for my position because I earn it. People will say, you're not bigger than... I'm not bigger than anyone. I earn my position. This is football. So it is what it is.
Modern football is supposed to be about meritocracy. You perform well, you keep playing. You can't just be guaranteed a starting position based on what you did last season and the year before. So when Salah says his past achievements should secure him a current spot, most fans hear pure entitlement, especially when the team is struggling and needs everyone, especially the leaders, to set the tone through performances and their attitude, not just on status. As a senior leader, he's just made everything worse. Salah is one of the most senior figures at the club. He's a global superstar on massive wages. When someone at that level publicly says that there's no relationship with the manager and talks about being thrown under the bus, it doesn't just create noise, it blows a hole in the entire dressing room. People are wondering, if you have an issue with Slot, why not talk to him? If that fails, speak to the sporting director, the board, your agent. Why would you go straight to the media and essentially declare a war on the manager while the club is already struggling? And to make it worse, he did this right before going to AFCON. So he basically dropped a grenade into the squad and flies off, leaving everyone else to deal with the fallout. A lot of fans have already overlooked what he did last season. Many of these people are ready to just cash in on him and call it a day in January. Their logic makes sense. He's on monster wages, he's clearly not happy, the team is not noticeably better when he plays right now, in fact arguably some of their best performances have come when he hasn't been on the pitch, and his comments make it very obvious that he thinks he's bigger than the team. So there's an argument for Liverpool to cash in, reset, and move on. He'll always be remembered as a club legend, but they don't want him near the dressing room if this is his attitude during a difficult period. Now the argument from the other side is that Salah is being scapegoated and that Slot is not a great man manager. There are many people who feel that Salah's comments weren't the best and they weren't fully professional, but at the same time, what Slot has been doing behind the scenes is a much bigger issue. Last season, Salah wasn't good, he was ridiculous. It was one of the best individual seasons in Premier League history. Top of the goal scoring charts, top of the assist charts, massive goal contribution. He carried that team. He's also been the guy for Liverpool for years. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. Hundreds of goal contributions, iconic moments, trophies. How many records has he broken? When someone like that has a dip, you usually see managers handle it with care.
I don't know why that happened always to me. Like, I don't get it. I think if I'm somewhere else, every club will protect his player. I don't know why I'm in that situation now.
So from this angle, benching him in 3 games in a row and just giving him 45 minutes is not a great look, especially when other underperformers continue to get playing time. There's also an argument to be made that Slot's man management in general has looked shaky at times. There's many instances where he's been too honest, publicly criticizing players like Konate and Kwanzaa back when he was at Liverpool, instead of defending them.
He does a lot of things well, but he has been a bit too much on the crime scene, and that is something I've heard people saying before in England.
He also plays favorites, Gakpo being the big example. Even though the guy is playing badly, he's still in every starting 11. So Slot says he's benching underperformers, but then why are you continuously playing a guy who does the same thing over and over again on the left-hand side? He's barely used players like Chiesa or Endo, who fans feel have actually done well when they've played. All of that combines into an image of a manager who isn't connecting with the dressing room the way Klopp did, and who's mismanaging relationships under pressure. So when Salah says the relationship went from being very good to no relationship at all, many people blame Arne Slot. They see it as proof that Slot has lost some senior players and doesn't know how to handle big personality. Now there's also a tactical argument in Salah's favor. Last season, the system was clearly built to protect him defensively and maximize him going forward. He didn't have to defend as much, so he could gamble more in the final third. And based on the numbers and his performances, that gamble worked. This season though, his press has dropped off. The team doesn't protect him in the same way. He's been asked to track back more and hug the touchline since they have better players in the middle. And he also doesn't have Trent feeding him in the same way anymore. So it's not just the fact that Salah lost his legs overnight. It's very much possible that he looks worse because the entire structure around him has changed, and not in a way that suits him. From this angle, the argument is not that Salah is blameless. It's that if he was doing well in a specific system, and then you moved away from that specific system, you can't just blame the star player for not performing at the same level as he did last year. It's not purely on him. Salah mentioned promises that were made to him in the summer that haven't been kept, and that's a line that really sticks out. A lot of people believe that the club wanted to sell him to Saudi at some point and get those wages off the books. They may have promised him a certain role, respect level, or status in the squad. Now he feels those promises were broken and that someone at the club doesn't want him there.
Seems like the club is throwing me under the bus. That's how I feel it. It's very clear that someone wants me to get all the blame.
If that's the case, then his outburst looks more like the final straw of a long brewing conflict, not just a tantrum over 3 games on the bench. Again, that doesn't make the interview wise or even professional, but it gives you a glimpse into how he was feeling emotionally when he made those comments. The post-Klopp hangover was always going to be messy. Klopp leaving after nearly a decade of building a culture, a style, and a group of leaders was never going to be a smooth handover. I personally thought all of this would happen last year since it was Slot's first year and there was the whole contract situation with Trent, Van Dijk, and Salah. It seems that they were able to get through it last year because Slot used a lot of the same principles that Klopp did, and the club didn't sign any new players. Now you've got a new manager trying to implement new ideas, senior players who have known only one way of doing things, and a squad full of players who were maybe built for Klopp ball, but not Slot ball. In that kind of environment, tensions are always gonna come up, and they're always gonna come up around the biggest names. Salah is entering that phase of his career where there has to be a transition. I'm sure he's known that. He's over 30 on huge wages, physically not the same as 4 to 5 years ago. He can still be extremely dangerous, but he's no longer guaranteed to produce every single week.
Not the same player, and Mo Salah looks like his legs have gone.
Every big club goes through this process with their legends. It's not a question of, do we reduce his role? It's, how do we do it? From what I can see, Salah has not accepted that reality, but you can also argue that Slot hasn't managed that transition with enough emotional intelligence. The club might be sitting silently behind the scenes, perfectly happy to let this blow up if it accelerates a sale. So when you zoom out, it doesn't feel like a good guy versus bad guy situation. It's more of a classic clash between a star who doesn't want to let go of his status and a manager who doesn't yet have the authority or track record of the club to handle that kind of ego. The communication has totally collapsed, and that's further proven by the one statement that I feel like should have stood out more than any other statement. It's that Salah's relationship went from being very good to no relationship at all with Arne Slot. That's brutal. For a manager and a star player to go from very good to no relationship at all quickly tells you that communication has totally broken down. If Slot benched him without clearly explaining why, that's bad management. If Salah refused to hear criticism or thought he was above tactical changes, that's bad professionalism. If both just retreated into their own corners and stopped talking, then this explosion was inevitable. This is the kind of thing that should never be exposed publicly. Either there's no trust left between these guys, or Salah is just done with the club and he wanted to say his piece before he leaves. This smells like a manager out of his depth in the man management department. Tactically, people can argue all day, but dressing room dynamics are everything at a big club, and Slot looks like he's lost control. So what happens next? Well, option one is the club backs Salah and they sack Slot. If the board decides Slot has lost the dressing room, can't improve the results, and has mishandled key players publicly, then this might be used as the final straw. The risk here is obvious. It's another reset, more instability, and worst of all, the perception that a player can get managers sacked. Option two is the club backs Slot and gets rid of Salah. This is the scenario that I think a lot of people see coming. The Saudi money is there, Salah's wages are huge, he's over 30, and the relationship looks broken. From a business angle, moving Salah on now makes a lot of sense, especially after comments like these. You can sell the story as, it's time for a new era. The downside though is also very obvious. You lose a club icon in a very toxic way, and you put immense pressure on Slot to deliver without a guy who carried them last season. Option 3 is the bald man and the Egyptian somehow patch things up. In theory, they could speak behind closed doors, apologize to each other, and come out united publicly. Whatever happens next is probably going to end a huge chapter in Liverpool's modern history. Either Salah leaves on a bad note, instead of going out as the undisputed hero he should have been, or Slot becomes another name in the long list of managers who have lost a big dressing room far too quickly. The saddest part is how good these two guys were together last season. To see how Slot got the best of Salah, and how that led to Liverpool becoming Premier League champions, you have to watch this video right here.